Hello and welcome to the Bettendorf Public Library's Take Home Workshop. This time we are going to be doing a watercolor bookmark. So you'll see my example here. This is one of my finished products, and I'm going to show you the process as we go through this to make our watercolor bookmark. First, I'll show you what's in your kit. We have some watercolor paints. They come with a brush. You'll also have a crayon in your pack in case you want to make a wax resist on your bookmark. And you'll also have a tassel to tie on top of your bookmark so that can stick out of your book to keep your place. All right, so I'm going to show you a few different designs and tell you about how I went about making those. So this first one is what I call a gradient colored bookmark. You'll see that I started with a darker pink color here, and then I go through in the middle, it gets lighter and lighter, and then darker again at the end. And so how I did that was I started out by mixing some of my watercolors. You can tell where I mixed them right here. I started with a little bit of red, a little bit of black, and that became my darkest color. And then as I went on, I decreased the amount of black I had. So to do that, I just took a little bit of this color that I'd made, and then I added some more red to it. And then in the very center where it is the lightest, I added a little bit more water and made it more of a wash so that it would end up that light color in the middle. My second example is one I call Fireflies. So what I did with my crayon in this one is I made some cute yellow circles. They're depicting some fireflies. And then I also added some yellow grass with my crayon, and then I went over it with different colors of paint. So I've got green down here in the grass, I've got blue and purple and black for my sky. So with this, I do the wax crayon first, and then I apply my colors. My next example is a landscape picture on our watercolor bookmark. I did these mountains by outlining them with my crayon. It is using a dark color, so I guess I didn't get the best wax resist format off of that, but I did want dark mountains, so it turned out just how I wanted it to. And then you'll see that I have some gradients of blue sky going darker, a little cloudy. It's an overcast day in my bookmark world. Next, I'm going to show you how I did the wax resist. I'm going to go ahead and do a very similar one like I did before with my fireflies, just because I love the way that it turned out. So to begin with, I'm going to do my fireflies here. I did just like little circles of light. Just in a random pattern, just like that. And then at the bottom, I did my my grass. I know that might be a little odd that I say I'm doing my grass in yellow, but you'll see when I put the green wash over it, it turns out really nice. So I'm being kind of heavy with my crayon here. I might go up and create some, I think these are some nice plants that are growing. Okay, now I'm going to decide what I want to do with my colors. So I've got my cup of water. That is one thing that you'll need to provide, is something with water in it. I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, and then I'm going to go into my colors. So I think I'm going to do a twilight time scene. So I'm going to get out my purple. And I'm gonna start a little thick on here, and I'm gonna see how the resist works. And yeah, that's working pretty good. So I'm gonna continue with that. Might use some, water it down just a little bit to thin out the paint. There we go. Now, one thing I love about working with watercolor is it's pretty forgiving. So if you decide, oh, maybe I want to have some blue in there, well, here you go. You can just put a little blue in there. The wax resist still works really well. We can blend these together. One thing you do want to be careful of is you don't get your bookmark too waterlogged while you're working. This one is just fine. It's going great, no problem at all. If that happens, you can always blot with a paper towel, just like that, to remove some of the water. Okay, so I've got my blue. Maybe I'm going to add a little more purple in here. And I'm going to start to go just into the top of that grassy area with my brush. Now I'm going to wash my brush off because now I'm going to go into the green so I can have some grass in there. I might put on some kind of thick right here. I might blend a little bit. Here's the top of my, I do a lot of blending right on the top of my paints here. So I'm doing a little wash now, maybe over here. The less water you use, the darker your color is going to be. So here I don't have a lot of water. It's mostly paint. So you can see how that's darker. And then if I want it more watery, I'm going to take my paint. I'm going to go in here. Maybe even add a little more water for a light wash. And I'm going to wash that over it. I might add a few more colors in there. I might even add a little bit of yellow or yellow-green over the wax resist here. And now I'm just digging into plain green right here. Over my grass a little bit, over this tree that I created. All right, so we're gonna put this one aside. We're gonna let it dry for a few minutes. Once your bookmark is completely dry, like my example right here, you are going to be able to put the tassel on. I think the tassel just adds a little bit of class to your project, makes it look beautiful and keeps your place in your book. So what I've done is I've just pulled this loop through and then I pull the tassel through. That's what it looks like on the back. And then I pull it tight like this. And I've got it. And if you want to, you can take your paintbrush. Maybe you want to just do a tiny, tiny signature in the bottom with your initials so everyone knows it's your book or your bookmark. So I'm going to do a really tiny one with my initials right there. Blends right in. And now you are ready to have a beautiful bookmark to mark your place. Thank you for joining us for the take-home workshop brought to you by the Bettendorf Public Library. We would also like to thank our friends of the Bettendorf Public Library for sponsoring this program.